Scott Sutherland says Apple's new iPhone stands apart from everyone else. He's equity analyst at Wedbush Securities. So, Scott, is this Apple iPhone just a nice new techie device, or is it a game changer?
You know, I think it's almost a game changer. It is a bigger upgrade than I think the 4S was, which was a speech. This is faster and bigger. I think those are two of the key selling points for any smartphone.
So a lot of people are saying this is the kind of phone that people will line up, they'll stand in line, a wrap around the Apple stores to buy it. What kind of sales are you expecting?
You know, we've initially put 6 million units into our model for the last 10 days of this quarter. I would not be surprised to see as much as 10 million, some at the expense of older phones, but most of that's going to be incremental, so I do expect upside, and that's going to be about 40% of their sales if they do about 10 million of their unit sales.
How does this compare to other iPhone launches?
You know, like I said, I think the 4S was a nice interim upgrade. There was a few people disappointed that did not have 4G LTE in that last upgrade cycle, but it is pretty well known that it wasn't going to have it. Now that they do have it, I expect this to be a bigger upgrade cycle. I expect it to outsell the 4S iPhone when it launched, and I expect it to be a bigger driver for Apple going forward than the 4S was.
So what will this do to Apple stock? Let's pull up a chart here of Apple stock. It's about $11 away from its all-time high of $680. What do you think? What are you expecting for this stock?
Yeah, this stock, I mean, earnings have continued to ramp up, so it's still trading around 10 times net of cash when we look at our forward 4 quarters. This company is still growing in excess of 20%. Obviously, iPhone is the biggest driver, and that is going to continue to drive it forward just like last year. I think the stock's going to start another run once we start seeing the lines, people line up for this phone and the sales numbers come out pretty robustly. But they also have other things in the pipeline, the iPad, Apple TV, strong product pipeline for the next few quarters. And I think that in totality, the entire ecosystem of devices will drive the stock higher.
You mentioned the iPad. A lot of people were expecting a new mini iPad to be announced today. It didn't happen. What are you expecting when it does happen? What kind of iPad? And how important is that going to be for Apple and for its stock?
Yeah, I think the majority of us, including myself, did not expect an iPad to be announced, or what's called the mini iPad, which was brought about in the Samsung trial, and they had to open up their secrets a little bit. Apple doesn't really make too large announcements in the same press conference, but it sounds like they're lining up a press conference for October. We do think they could introduce a mini iPad at that point in time. Clearly, they did have a sub-announcement this press conference with the iPods.
All right, so if that fall announcement happens and we've got this iPhone already announced, what is the target you have on the stock? Is it a buy at $670 still at this point, or is it just too late to get in?
No, I mean, we still have it as outperform. We actually still have it on our best idea list. And we think that within the next couple of weeks, once those sales numbers come out, we're going to start to see the stock make another run like it did on the iPhone 4S. And we have an $885 price target, and we think they can make that in 12 months, if not sooner.
Pretty incredible. Scott, any disclosures to make? Do you own the stock?
Unfortunately, I don't own any shares, and we do make markets, but we don't do any banking.
All right, thanks so much. Scott Sutherland, equity analyst at Wedbush Securities.